it's you guy Elif, and today it's my first episode. I'm experienced grower. I've been growing for about 7 years now in the wild. As sometimes it was legal, sometimes it wasn't, But I just really came forward and wanted to share my experiences with outdoor growing, the good shit, the good tomatoes, if you know what I mean. I'm a guerrilla grower, so basically that means that I'll be growing, where it's not, you know, and I've learned quite a lot, and I've seen so many bullshit videos on YouTube, like fucking tutorial is really for people that want to grow those 2 meter plants or higher, about 500 grams dry yield per plant in the northern hemisphere. So why I say northern hemisphere? This is one of the most important things in the northern hemisphere, like Belgium, Denmark, Sweden, Canada. We do have a different weather, so you gotta really respect the weather. What that means is we are planting plants in the wild with no protection. That's the number one thing, okay? We do not have a roof. We do not have ventilators. We do not have anything like this, okay? So your plant fully exposed to the weather and stuff like this. Type in comments and ask me shit. I'll answer up, but you should have your plants somewhat free so that they can get all that light exposure from coming from the south. But you can check that as well. Maybe for your country, it's a bit different, and yeah, but that's really important. You want to get maximum light exposure. Another thing with the spot is do not go into fields that are too wet. Like very, very, very close to rivers. I'm talking like 2 meters, 3 meters or something. Do not go in swamp, crazy wood rot. Okay, so do not do that. Those are the most important of things. If the soil is not too great where you're gonna grow, you can just dig a big hole. Like I'll say at least 30 or 25 liters of good soil, like gardening soil. You'll put that in a hole you got and just plant the plant inside, and that's basically all you gotta do regarding your location. So you can always top up the earth, so you will basically can use shit of all that. Um, Coming to part two. Part two is about the strains. That's where most people fuck up. They go on the internet and they search about, like, oh my god, what's the most craziest THC? I want to get 30% THC and want fucking have 2 kilos per plant yield and all that crazy shit. Like, I'm gonna tell you some shit. 95% of the weed you buy from somewhere, from some dealers, even if you fucking order it somewhere, it's not gonna have that, no. And if you buy it from the street, usually, man, we test that shit. It's about 15 to at best 22%. Like that's 99% of the cases. And I gotta say, it's not that bad. And I really recommend you guys, if you're comes down to what you want, if you want just the best quality, man, go somewhere, build your nice garden house or something, or do indoor. So I recommend you do not go with the high, crazy highs THC or something. Go with something that is known to be weather resistant. Go with something that's indica, like heavy indica, because they withstand the weather way better than sativa does. And also, you're gonna grow way more bushy. There are more like hiding, it's not as obvious as a fucking 3-4 meter plant sativa. So with the strains, I really can recommend any skunk with stem bud rot and root rot. They are just good for this climate zone. Yeah, you can get some good strains like Fast Skunk or how's it called, Pump Sensei seeds. There are some really good ones. My best experiences are with skunks, because as I said, when you go with something that is, for example, Moby Dicks or Fat Bananas, they have like I've tried those, but the problem with those is that big butts that they will they will have a lot of trapped moisture in them, and especially in the northern hemisphere, where you have all this humidity, and you will fuck up. Because the problem is that all the rain and everything that you've got is traveling down the stems, and it's collecting there. And if you have so big bots like fucking those things, we all love them. But the problem is for outdoor without protection, like physical protection, the rain is gonna destroy your plant. You will lose without fungicides, from my experience, and even with fungicides on very big, big buds, you will lose between 20 to 60% of all your yield in the northern hemisphere. That's just because of bud one. If you have this big bud, it cannot vaporize the all the humidity that's inside, and especially in the northern hemisphere, where you're gonna harvest at September, October, it's already way too wet. You gotta know cannabis is not made for this climate zone. So the Octobers usually here are more like very humid and getting cold and rainy. And the problem is with this fall weather, it really destroys your plant. And you have, without physical protection, only two choices. First, you gotta top the plant. You gotta alisteer it. You gotta spread it out as far as you can for good air ventilation. And you wanna have between 15 to maximum 20, more is not better, very important, main colors, okay? Because if you have more main colors, firstly, you're gonna have more yield, but the buds are gonna get smaller. The big head buds are not gonna go like this, they're gonna go like this. It's not a big difference, but the thing is, it's a big difference for ventilation. And especially if you have this misty weather and the fog, they will vaporize way faster. It's a difference between day and night. So guys, coming to start the grow. No, you got your location, you got your seeds, you got the energy. Don't start. So starting the grow, one of the most important things. You should start in early May, like 1st of May, maybe a week before the 1st of May, and bring all your seeds to germination. Then you're gonna start indoors. This is a kind of important step. Otherwise, you would have to wait another 2 months if you cannot start indoor. Indoor, you will not have to set up a big crazy ventilation and all that stuff, because the plants are not gonna smell for the first 30 or 35 days. Comes down to what are you doing and stuff, but usually they do not smell that bad. But if you can start inside, I would really recommend you to start the seeds, let them grow, and very important here, do not let them stretch. This is very important. Happens when you turn on the light too hard, like it's too much for the plant, they're gonna dwarf. You will have to be a bit careful with this, and you do not have to do this, but it's my personal experience that if you especially have a lot of plants on a small size, like for example, you have 50 plants in like 1 liter containers, just like pre-wedging that for outside, giving them dwarfism, like letting them like grow really little and have very small internodal like space. It's really gonna benefit you outdoor because the plant is really sturdy. If you let it stretch out and then flare up like the 16, 20 nodes, it's not gonna be so stylish, especially with heavy winds. So you want to be as packed and tight here and then flare bigly out, you know? That's really what my experience are, but I think there's a lot of different tactics regarding that. But yeah, that's just my experience. If you start indoors with small space, just to, start them to grow, then put them out after 30 days. Indoor, you want to already do the first topping. I'm just going to add something you will agree. So the first topping, you want to top the third node. So everything that is growing above the third node, cut it. And so between the third and fourth node, cut that. And you will have with one topping 6 new nodes. This is a way more effective way of topping, way faster recovery. I do not quite understand why people are going for like deleting everything besides 2 nodes. Maybe that's just good for indoor, but for outdoor, you can with just one topping, you will create 6 nodes, and that will save you a lot of time. So coming back to how you should grow outside. So you got the spot, you got the seeds, you're prepared, you want to put your stuff out there. Like wait until at least 5, 6, 7 Celsius, drop downs, like where it's regularly at night around 10 Celsius. And, you know, the weather's unpredictable. Sometimes it gets 5 Celsius. It just is how it is. But you should go somewhere in that, time zone. So it will be around end of May, like 20th May. That's where like usually that stuff is usually above 10 at night. That's like the perfect range. So you want to dig the holes. The holes should be not all in a row, like this. You want them to be like this, so they are like diagonal, like a diagonal teller, because in that way you get the best airflow. Very important stuff. If you get the best airflow, expect it, you're gonna have less rotting. That's very important. Keep at least a meter or more. I'll also say 2 meters is even better. The further is better, but at least one meter, and you can go like everything above 2 meters is just nonsense. But I personally, if I can do it, I go 1.5 or 2 meters, plant like apart from each other, just where I made the best experiences. If you're digging the holes, bigger is better than deeper. Cause thing is, if you are gonna make a pot, just a pot, where it's deep down, moisture and water is gonna settle there. Yeah, you might think, oh, okay, good, nice. Yeah, I have to water less or something. No, you do not want that. You rather want the softer earth, the natural earth that's outside, which is usually on the tops, 30 centimeter, and not the. It's gonna be very hot here, and moisture is gonna collect here. So you want to make it rather big, but not as deep. So maybe 30 centimeters deep, but quite big, And yeah, so the moisture can dissipate better, and it's just better for the plant. It's from my experiences, and also try when you dig the holes, bring a pickaxe with you and really try to loosen up the soil even under it. That's quite important. So the roots can better regrow, because you gotta think about this. If you start outside with a hole and 30 liters or 25 liters of soil, the root ball that's gonna form there is the main root ball. But the roots, that's what I've seen. Our flare are up to 3 meters above that, and they go about 2 meters and even deeper from where the plant is. So about 2 meters down. But real games, it comes down to what soil it is. If it's very heavy soil and it can't dig through it, but usually they go pretty fucking insane. So outside, with especially the 4 months of vegetative phase, if you early pre-started in beginning of May, you're gonna have crazy ass flowers, like crazy. Another quite important topic right here. You have to do something about wildlife. Wildlife, besides human, are the worst enemy to your class. They're gonna eat that shit up like it wasn't even there. Trust me on this. They're gonna fuck you up. You gotta do something. And it's regarding deer, it's regarding rabbits, and especially snails, those little motherfuckers. So, first off, you wanna get a guard, a guard for snails. It's called a snail guard ring, and it's made out of plastic. I would not recommend copper. Do not go with copper. Do not go with copper. It can change the micro life of the soil and shit like that. I just go with the snail guards, and they are just plastic rings basically. They're going a bit up, and then they're curved outside, so the snakes basically they cannot travel over it. One of my best experiences I have with that. They're quite cheap, and get them off AliExpress or something, like buying a bit masses. So another thing you can do about wildlife: if you got a cat, if you got a dog, scrub them really good, place the hairs there where your spot is, or bring them there, let them walk around there, let them shit there, let them piss there. That's really good, because wildlife, they hate this smell. If you can, like, maybe you piss there yourself, you piss in bottles, let them ferment in the sun for 1 2 weeks, then you're gonna drip them there, and trust me, you will not have those problems anymore. But if you still have them, try buy chili pulver, like powder from India or somewhere where you can get it cheap, and then watch a video on how the Africans scare away elephants. And if you watch that video where how they scare away elephants with chilies, then you gonna know what's up, man. Those are all you need. It's very easy, and it's a stinky stuff, but trust me, it's worth it. I would not recommend building big fences, because the thing is that people are gonna see that stuff. Also, chili powder and your piss and your dog's hairs or whatever, you really gotta refresh that, like once a month on the spot, because it's gonna naturally evaporate and vanish and stuff. Like, of course, try to go there as little as possible, but if you go there, leave a stench, it got marked. And yeah, that's about it. So now you just basically gonna wait until the photoperiodic plants are, yeah, going into flower. Just proceed as normally here, you just use your normal fertilizer for the specific phase the plant is in. Just do it as usually. You will not have problems. Just everything regarding this is very safe, and just do it. If you got problems with the pH, I'll recommend buying dolomite. It's a powder. You can get like 10 kilos for 10 euros out of Amazon, and it's really cheap. You just put it around the plant, because sometimes when you buy earth, from the market or something, it's not gonna have the perfect 6.5 pH. It's sometimes gonna be 6 or 7. So dolomite, especially when you have the 6 or something like this, the herb that you buy, and it's always on the back of the label, the dolomite, and work it in the first 3 to 5 centimeters of the plant, of the soil, and a ring around it, and that just gonna raise the pH naturally around 4 to 6 weeks and stabilize it. And I really recommend that. It's better than any pH up or pH whatever. Just really recommend that. So another thing now, regarding this, like get those 15 to 20 May colas. That's really important. Lollipop the bullshit on a knee. Just usually just go however you know you're probably not a beginner grower, so you know a bit stuff. I'm not gonna lecture you on that shit. Just gonna tell you the most important things, okay? If you got a question regarding like usual growing stuff, you can always ask me. I will not go into this. Regarding the most crucial stage, you pass the vegetation. It's all went super good and everything is going great, yeah. But now we're going into something that is called flowering, and this is where you are gonna develop the buds from your colas. But you are in the northern hemisphere, which means you have to use fungicides. If you do not use fungicides, you will still have big bud rotting problems. Even with the smaller colas and more distribution, good airflow, you will still lose at least 20%. At least. It's not even a question. You can be the best grower. You will lose it without physical protection from this weather. It's just how it is. Um, Even if you're lucky, you're not gonna like dry fall. You will still get a huge fuck up. You know, it's just how it is. So, I would really recommend you buy fungicides. Fungicides are somewhere hard to get where you are from. I'm gonna show you the best working ones right now. I'm gonna have a few products that I'm gonna recommend you. Problem is hard to get. So the thing is, the European Union got, they classify certain fungicides, and none of this is approved for cannabis. But I'm gonna tell you, using this shit, we're gonna push down to about 1%, yeah, loss and root rot, bud rot. Decide for yourself if you're gonna use this. All of these fungicides are normal in the industry, not for cannabis, like obviously, but for normal like potatoes, tomatoes. They all of them use this.